answer I always tell them if they ask me politely. But sometimes I wish that they wouldn't.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And how are you today? I always answer, I always tell them if they ask me politely. But sometimes
I wish that they wouldn't.
She wore her yellow sunbonnet, she wore her greenest gown. She turned to the south wind and curtsied up and down. She turned to the sunlight and shook her yellow head and whispered to her neighbor, "Winter is dead."
she wore her yellow sunbonnet, she wore her greenest gown. She turned to the south wind and curtsied up and down.
She turned to the sunlight and shook her yellow head and whispered to her neighbor, "Winter is
James, Morrison, Weatherby, George Dupree took great care of his mother, though he was only 3. James said to his mother, "Mother," he said he, "don't ever go down to the end of the town if you don't go down with me. Don't ever go down to the end of town if you don't go down with me." James, Morrison's mother put on her golden gown.
James, Morrison's mother drove to the end of town.
James, Morrison's mother said to herself, said she,
I can get right down to the end of town and be back in time for tea.
King John put up a notice,
lost or stolen or strayed. James Morrison's mother seems to have been mislaid. Last seen wandering vaguely quite of her own accord.
She tried to get down to the end of town. 40 shillings reward. said he was sorry, so did the Queen and Prince. King John,
somebody told me,
said to a man he knew,
if people go down to the end of the town, well, what can anyone do?
J-J-N-N-W-G-to-P took great sea of his hand, though he was only 3. J said to his and he said he,
you must never go down to the end of the town if you don't go down with me.
you must never go down to the end of the town if you don't go down with me.
Ernest was an elephant, a great big fellow. Leonard was a lion with a 6-foot tail.
George was a goat, and his beard was yellow, and James was a very small star.
Leonard had a stall and a great big strong one. Ernest had a manger and its walls were thick.
George found a pen, but I think it was the wrong one, and James sat down on the floor.
Trumpeting and raised such a rumpus. Leonard started roaring and trying to kick.
James went a journey with the goat's new compass, and he reached the end of his road.
Ernest was an elephant and very well intentioned. Leonard was a lion with a brave new tail.
George was a goat, as I think I have mentioned, but James was only goose there.
The sun shines through the leaves of the apple tree. When the sun makes shadows of the leaves of the apple tree, then I from one leaf to another, from one leaf to its brother, tiptoe, 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 tiptoe. Here I go. John had great big waterproof boots on. John had a great big waterproof hat. John had a great big waterproof Macintosh, and that, said John, is that. John had great big waterproof boots on. John had a great big waterproof hat. John had a great big waterproof Macintosh, and that, said John, is that. Between the woods the afternoon is fallen in a golden swoon. The sun looks down from quiet skies to where a quiet water lies. Then silent trees stoop down to trees. And there I saw a white swan lake, another white swan in the lake, and breast to breast both motionless, they waited for the wind's caress. And all the water was at
I had a penny, a bright new penny. I took my penny to the market square. I had a penny, a bright new penny. I took my rabbit to the market square. I wanted a rabbit, a little brown rabbit, and I looked for a rabbit most everywhere. I found a sixpence, a little white sixpence. I took it in my sixpence to the market square. I was took in my sixpence to the market square. I took it in my rabbit to the market square. I was born in my rabbit. I do like rabbits, and I looked for my rabbit most everywhere.
I went down to the shouting sea, taking Christopher down with me. For nurse had given us 6pence each, and down we went to the sea. We had sand in the eyes and the ears and the nose, and sand in the hair, and sand between the toes. Whenever a good nor'wester blows,
Christopher is certain of sand
between the toes. The sea was galloping gray and white. Christopher clutched his 6pence tight. We clambered over the humping sand, and Christopher held my hand. We had sand in the eyes and the ears and the nose, and sand in the hair, and sand between the toes. Whenever a good nor'wester blows,
Christopher is certain of sand
between the toes.